Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for welcoming me here into your community and into your congregation. And before I tell you a little bit about Three Things for Calgary, I just want to say congratulations to the 11 young people confirming today. It's an important step in your personal journey. It is an important step in your spiritual journey, but it's also an important step in your journey as citizens in this community, citizens in this congregation, in this city. And as you pass this milestone, I hope that you're grateful today for all the support and mentorship that you've received. And you think about how all those people have helped you and how you too can consider how you can make change in the community. Our city needs you, and we need you to help us become an even better place of opportunity. So, when I was first elected mayor in 2010, you'll remember that during that election, it was a very exciting time, not only because there was a lot of purple being worn, but more important, that people were really talking to one another about their community, about the future, about their hopes and dreams and fears and challenges, and people were talking to the person next to them on the bus or the person in line with them at the grocery store. And when I was elected, I brought together a group of super volunteers. And I said to them, all right, folks, you've got a job here. And your job is to keep people as excited between elections about their community as they were during the elections. So you got 30 days. And in those 30 days, please come back to me with some ideas on how to get people more engaged in their community. And Nancy Close, who's with me today, my colleague, was in charge of that, bringing all these volunteers together. And they came back to me about 45 days later. And they said, Mayor, good news. We've had a bunch of meetings. We've thought about this, we've pulled together a bit of a focus group, we've talked to people in the community, and we've come up with a name for our committee. I'm sure that is not in any way familiar to those of you involved in church governance. By the way, they couldn't have done worse. The Mayor's Committee on Civic Engagement. I've told that story so many times, this is actually true. Nancy came to me about a year ago and said, the committee is irritated that you keep making fun of the committee's name. So we've had some focus groups, and we've thought about it, and Mayor, we've decided to change the committee's name. The Mayor's Civic Engagement Committee. That is actually true. But some days after that, they came to me with this idea, Three Things for Calgary, and it's a very, very simple idea. All it is saying to every citizen that every day, in every way, but mostly every year, do three things for your community. Doesn't matter if they're big things or small things. Doesn't matter if it is shoveling your neighbor's walk or raking her leaves, or if it's starting a new nonprofit organization, or if it's taking in a refugee family. Just do three things for the community. And I looked at them and I said, wow, that is a terrible idea. Because you have managed to create something paradoxically and somewhat miraculously that is both too simple and too complicated. It's too simple because we're not suggesting to people what to do. We're not giving them ideas. We're not matching them with nonprofit organizations and faith organizations that require some help. And I happen to, when I'm not being mayor, be a professor of nonprofit management on leave. And I've done a lot of research in this area, and we know, the number one reason people don't volunteer, can you guess what it is? It's not, I don't have enough time or I don't have enough money. Yeah, it's nobody asked me. Right? It's about setting the expectation. And so in not telling people what to do, the Three Things for Calgary movement really has its power because people figure out the answer to two questions. And this is what I encourage each of you to do. What do I care about? What am I good at? And it is in the overlap between those questions that we find our ability to make change in the community. And people have come up with things that I never, ever would have thought of. The kids at St. Alta School were among the first to sign up. And I thought to myself, what are little kids going to do to change the community? And so I asked them to send me their list. And these 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds sent me their lists. I'm going to pick up litter on my way to school. I'm going to be nicer to my little brother. That one might be hard. It also violates the rule that it has to be for the community, not for your family, but you don't get picky with 5-year-olds. There's a new girl in my class. She's new to Calgary, and I'm going to invite her over for a play date so she can make some friends at the new school. And I figured out that these kids really understood community. Like the woman who had a terrifying moment that I hope none of you have to go through when her child fell ill and she had to go to the children's hospital emergency room. And they had a very, very unpleasant, very scary night. And the next day when they were home safely again, the woman reflected on her experience. And she thought, what could have made that night better? And now every year, she does a toothbrush drive for the children's hospital. But not to collect kids' toothbrushes, to collect adult toothbrushes. Because she realizes that anybody who has to take their child to the hospital never thinks of themselves, never thinks to pack a little bag even if they know they're going to be there all night. And now, if you're at the children's hospital emergency room and you're there all night, and you're a scared parent and you've passed the most terrifying night of your life, you can at least brush your teeth in the morning and feel just a little bit more human and know that you live in a community where people are looking after you. These are the sorts of things that we can do, everyday people with our everyday hands and our everyday voices, to change the world, to make extraordinary change. And that's really what I encourage people to do, because much as it hurts me to say it, it's not really about politicians. We may have microphones, but it really is about everyday people in our community making change. And in particular, I like to spend time on pulpits, can you tell? In churches and temples and synagogues. Because I believe that we as people of faith have so much more that unites us than that which divides us. And when we think about the values that drive our lives, the immutable dignity of every human being, the necessity of service, the importance of leaving our communities better than we found them, we realize that as people of faith, we have a special responsibility within our community, and it is just that, to work hard as everyday people with our everyday hands and our everyday voices to make extraordinary change. In particular, to make extraordinary change for those who may feel that they have no voice, for those who may feel that they have no strength. The core strength of our community, as I always say, is not that there are carbon atoms in the ground somewhere near us. It is that we have figured out a very, very simple truth, a truth that evades too many in this broken world of ours. And that truth is just this: we're all in it together. That our neighbor's strength is our strength, that our neighbor's success is our success, and most important, that our neighbor's failure is our failure. And it's our job. It's our job as everyday people with our everyday voices and our everyday hands to make change and to ensure the success of every single one of us. Because as I say, the success of any one of us is the success of every one of us. Those are lessons that you learn every day here in this congregation and the extraordinary work you do in the community. And I look forward to even more extraordinary work from all of you, not just from the 11 who are confirming today, but particularly from the 11 who are confirming today. Thank you so much for inviting me today, and thank you so much for being a part of this very special day.